Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse and welcome to Friday night. We are live, and tonight we have a panel, one of the best panels ever, kids. And tonight we are going to talk about our top 5 favorite Todd Rundgren productions. Now, if you've been keeping track, we've talked about Utopia, we've talked about Todd Rundgren and our favorite records, but tonight we're going to talk about the productions. And as you know, Todd's had probably a lot more success with his productions than anything else. I mean, if you look at Bat Out of Hell, that was a monster. You know, that's pretty much what he's known for, is Bat Out of Hell. He did Grand Funk Railroad, We're American Band. That's another one. New York Dolls. But there are tons of productions. Remote Control by the Tubes. The Pursuit of Happiness. No one talks about The Pursuit of Happiness anymore because no one remembers who they are, but it's a great record. Todd Evans knows Pursuit of Happiness. That's for damn sure. XTC Skylarking. So I've got a panel assembled tonight, and as anyone can see, my good friend Todd Evans is back. Byron Bolt is back, and Daryl Collins, who was with me the other night, is making an appearance. So, Daryl, welcome to the panel. These other gentlemen have been here before, but welcome to a live stream, Daryl.
Yeah, the pressure is on, isn't it?
Yeah,
thanks for inviting me, and especially since of my all-time 3 favorite artists or group, Todd's second only to the Beatles. So, and then right behind Todd would be Steely Dan, I guess. But yeah, happy to be a part of the program. This is right in my wheelhouse. Love Todd, and I'm sure we're going to have a lively and spirited discussion here.
What's up, guy? Where's the beer? There's no beer, Ernesto, for God's sakes. Oh, no, Byron's got a beer.
I got water. I just finished a margarita, so I switched to water. So
I understand. But here we are. It's Friday night. Like I said, I want to welcome you gentlemen to the show. It's nice seeing you. God, this talking Todd Rundgren though is just so fun because, well, it is. I mean, I've been following Todd since the 80s, so this is just right up my wheelhouse. So what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do our top 5. And so I think we'll go around and we'll start with our 5th record. We're going to do this in an hour or less because, you know, we're all machines at this point.
We can do it.
We can do it, Todd, my brother. He says we can do it. But I'm going to start off with Daryl Collins tonight. Since he's like a newbie on the channel, I'm going to start off with his number 5, and then we'll go Todd Evans, Byron, me, and we'll just go around.
All right. Well,
so, Daryl, let's hear it. What's your number 5?
Well, number 5 for me, this is kind of odd because I personally do not love this album. I recognize its greatness and I recognize its place in classic rock history, but it's just not in my personal wheelhouse. And that's, as you mentioned, Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell. But you cannot deny the production on that album and what Todd added to it. Number 1, Meatloaf and Jim Steinman pitched this album to every label on planet Earth. Nobody was interested until Todd got involved. And then Todd pretty much took the bull by the horns and got it done, got it financed, got it facilitated, distributed. Mm-hmm. And all the little Todd extras are included in this album. The guitar tone that starts like a motorcycle starting up, the backseat sexual interplay with Heaven by the Dashboard Lights, having Phil Rizzuto, who was one of the play-by-play guys of the Yankees, kind of give a sexual play-by-play as bass to bass. I love those elements. That's another aspect of Todd's sense of humor coming out in his productions. Funny because Phil Rizzuto had no idea that what he recorded was going to be used in that fashion. He was slightly horrified. His son said, "Hey, Dad, listen to this. Listen to your play-by-play." He was kind of horrified. But I know that album has to be coming up as we talk, so I'm not going to say too much. But like I say, it's more like a Broadway theatrical production rock album. Right. Not in my wheelhouse. I like some of it, but I mean, the production on it, there's just no denying what a masterful job Todd did. So
I agree. It's a good choice. Good one to start out with. Todd Evans, what you got?
Okay, well, I am going to talk about a record that you're going to be surprised at this, Grant, but I haven't
Be
been.
not. I don't.
I haven't been very familiar with this album until very recently, and that is the Tube's Remote Control. This is really cool. Just in case anybody's ever seen the back, and
Is that a promo?
It is. It is a white label promo.
You.
And the coolest thing about it is that it has this little card in it, which is like all of the tubes in a square, and then the credits are on the back of it. It's pretty cool. I like that. I didn't know that it came with that.
Did you just pick that up?
I did. This has been sitting in the half price bin at my local record store, and I've been picking up and I'm putting it down because not the best condition.
White label promo, though.
I would pick it up and then I would put it down, and then finally I just said, you know what? I'm going to rescue this for $6. I'm going to rescue this record.
Definitely.
But it's a very cool record. It sounds like modern tubes, so it basically sounds like the tubes of the 80s, which people are more familiar with than the earlier tubes sound. But it's got it's a concept album about a savant who is like addicted to television, and it's really all the song titles are TV related. Turn Me On, TV is King, Prime Time, which is the single. There's a song on there called Telecide, and just great, really good record. I really like the sound of it. It's got a soulful sound to it, but it's got that kind of Rundgren-esque kind of Blue-Eyed Soul thing happening in it. But it also sounds a little new wavy in 1979. So I wouldn't say it's ahead of its time, but it's of its time, I guess. And it's a
good album.
I don't know why well, I guess they kind of do. I was about to say I don't know why the Tubes don't get credit for having great ballads, but man, Love's a Mystery I Don't Understand is a great ballad.
Agreed.
Excellent tune, co-written by Todd Rundgren. But it almost sounds like one of those kinds that it was actually written by Todd Rundgren, but it was just co-written by him. But great, in typical Tubes fashion, it's got different people singing lead. It's not just Fee Waybill. And I really like the record a lot. And so just very recently, I've started to really enjoy it. And so my number 5 is Remote Control by
Excellent. Anthony Ferraro he agrees with you, Todd. He's on your team. He's all about it. Excellent choice. BM Bolt.
Yep. All right.
What's your number 5?
When we decided to do this, I had to go back and look at a list of what he produced because I was familiar with a few things, but I was like, I need to see more what he's produced so I can pick top 5, because I never was the kind of person like, oh, Todd produces, I'll just go out and buy it. That's just the way I never was like that. But
right. I understand.
So some of these tonight I was very familiar with. Some I had heard a couple times. Others I really didn't hear at all until I started doing a little more research. So my first one is going out to my buddy Anthony Ferraro, Steve Hillagel.
Oh, there you go. Let's bring that back up. There you go.
Receive.
So this was recorded in September of 1976, and the entire backing band is Utopia right after Kasem had joined the band. So it's that raw period. All the tracks most of the tracks are instrumental. There's some vocals, a lot of spacey type songs with long guitar solos, a little bit of Eastern influences here and there. There's a few covers like Hurdy-Gurdy Man. It's All Too Much, the George Harrison song. But there's a song called Lunar Music Suite, which is about 12 minutes. And you would swear it was off of like one of the early Utopia albums. It just sounds exactly like it would have came from one of those albums. And there's this Hurdy-Gurdy Glissando, which is like part 2 of the Hurdy Gurdy Man track, and that's got a little bit of the Utopia sound too. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. And I had really never heard that album prior to doing this, taking on this task tonight, but I enjoy it quite a bit.
Well, I've only heard that record once, and I do remember Hurdy Gurdy Man, and I thought that was kind of odd, but okay, I'm good. But it's not as odd as my choice is going to be.
Right.
But yes, I like the fact that Utopia is the backing band on that. You know,
Yeah, sounds.
What year did that come out? Was that like 78?
76.
76.
Right.
Wasn't
right
that
around
like-
Raw.
Okay, so that was like one of the first things Chasm played on,
Yes,
right?
it
You
probably
know that.
was. It was before Raw, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get that. I can tell I'm going to spend more money. God.
Yeah, I need to have that too.
Ernesto has it on 8.
Oh,
For God's sakes. Where have you been, Ernesto? For goodness. Wait a minute. He opened for ELO that year. Oh, I'll be darned. Ernesto 8-track. Oh my God. All right. Well, that's a great choice. You've made Anthony Ferraro very happy. I gotta pick up mine because it's on the floor and I couldn't find my vinyl, for God's sakes. This is gonna be kind of contrarian because I don't know if this is particularly a really good album, but there's something about it that I really like about it because it is just so bizarre. And it's the same thing. Utopia's the backing band.
We know this one.
Yeah. But I like this record.
Oh,
Sean Cassidy Wasp. Because look at it. Sean Cassidy's at the end of his recording career, and he's like going, you know what? Let's just do whatever I want to do at this point. And this album is just, it's weird. It's wacky. His version of Rebel is strange. The whole thing is just strange. But it's almost like a long lost Utopia album. Because if you listen to the band, you could hear Todd all over it playing guitar. You could hear Todd on the background vocals. You can hear Chasm singing. It is a Utopia album without Chasm or Willie or Roger or Todd singing on it. But it is a weird record.
You know
and
what?
Good luck finding one in the wild.
1980 on that? Or
1980.
Okay.
You know, over
Yeah,
the years, and even when that came out, I always thought from what I read about it, so that sounds like it's in your wheelhouse. And I realize it's Sean Cassidy, but I've never been one to let what other people think when I bring something up to the checkout counter or what I'm listening to.
Right.
If I like it, I like it. I don't care.
I mean, it's
But
not
it's
Sean
just a
Cassidy
statement.
it's not Sean Cassidy doing the do run run.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
It's
doing
escaped me
Utopia.
all these
This is
years,
a
and I doubt if I'll
weird-
be able to track it down now.
This is a very odd experimental record. I'm just going to leave it there.
Mm.
Kind
The
of
only
new
thing that
wavy.
kept that, I was going to say, the only thing that kept that off of my list was that it's not a very good performance by Sean Cassidy on vocals. That was the only thing that kept it off my list, because otherwise I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a
I think
weird.
I think he was a little too outside of his element.
Evidently,
He was in
Sean
Omaha
Cassidy's
last
touring.
And
But-
he was here in Omaha last summer.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, he played.
I
the
thought he
ball.
was producing films or something. I don't know.
He does. He produces television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since David Cassidy died, I guess that opened up for other Cassidys to go out on tour.
Fall in line.
Fall in line. So that's my number 5. And, you know, I played this on my New Wave show like 2 weeks
saw
ago.
that.
It would fit right in.
It
Yeah.
fits right in. And the cover is very strange. It's just a weird record, but I love it just because it's so kooky.
I love that
All
he spent Warner Brothers money making that. That's my favorite thing about it.
And like Todd just like on, let's do it, you know.
Yeah.
It's weird. Check it out if you can find a copy of it. I will tell you that it's never really came out on CD. You can get it on Amazon in one of those where they burn a CDR of it.
CDRs. Yeah.
But that's the only way it's ever come out. But I mean, it looks good. I mean, the graphics are there. It sounds great. It's not like they mastered it from like a tape or something. It sounds great. But you can get it that way if you can't find the records, because when it came out in 1980, it did not sell at all. I mean, I don't know about you gentlemen. I don't remember even seeing it in the cutout bins. Do you ever remember seeing it in the cutout bins?
When I was in college, I had a cassette that came from the cutout dump table at Woolworths.
Okay.
That's how old I am.
He's that old.
I do remember when it originally came out, sitting there in the racks and me debating whether I wanted to purchase it or whatever, because probably didn't have the most amount of disposable income at that point. And even though I heard good things about it and Todd produced it, did I really want to spend my money on that or something else? And then afterwards, I've never really seen it out in the wild. I've not come across it.
Yeah, well, it's not. I've got a couple of copies that I found in the wild, and that's in like 20, 25 years. I've never seen it twice. And I just picked it up because the one copy was cleaner than the other copy. You know how it is, gentlemen. You go, oh, well, this copy's nice. So you buy it. But before we go to our number 4, everyone, if you can do me a favor, please jump in on the conversation. Please give a like, give a thumbs up. Gets that algorithm going, gets it all worked up. So let's go to our number 4. Daryl, what you got for number 4?
Okay, a little quick sidetrack, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but this was an album that came out from Rhino. It was Todd Rundgren's an LP worth of productions. This came out in 92, and it's got a pretty good representation of, Todd's major production work, songs from each of his more prominent productions up to 92. So I'll just throw that out there in case anyone didn't know of that album, that it's out there. For my number 4, I don't know if Todd or Byron will have this on their list, but I know Grant's not gonna have it on his list.
You don't, Daryl, you don't know. Oh no, I hate Grand Funk.
That is Grand Funk Railroad. We're an American band.
Oh, wretched.
Now, young Daryl at the time, Grand Funk was his favorite band in the early 70s, and their manager really screwed them, and they severed ties with him, and they're out there trying to do it on their own. The manager was Terry Knight. After they cut him loose, they did an album called Phoenix, and they recorded it in Nashville. And it's got country elements on it, if you could believe that, and even have Doug Kershaw, the fiddle player, playing on a song. So if you want to talk about melding of two bizarre formats you wouldn't think would work,
Right.
the fiddle playing in Grand Funk Railroad. But Todd really saved this band and projected them to a whole other height of popularity and success, because they were a big deal before this production came around. I mean, they sold out Shea Stadium quicker than the Beatles, and Grand Funk it's to this day is a really forgotten major force in classic rock early 70s. But he put a sheen on Grand Funk Railroad. He said these guys are good musicians. They just had been produced terribly and wasn't bringing their strengths to the fore.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things he decided was to pull some of the lead vocals from Mark Farner, who was their guitarist, and gave him to the drummer, Don Brewer. In fact, the 2 hits off this album are Don Brewer's Son, We're an American Band, and Walk Like a Man, which American Band went to number 1, and Walk Like a Man was hit the teens somewhere as a single. But you brought elements out in Grand Funk Railroad that even me as a fan, although I was young at the time, I didn't know they had it in them. It was like they were always a gritty, funky band. He brought a level of sophistication with his production that is our visitor again.
There's the damn cat again.
He just brought an element to Grand Funk Railroad that I just think was a real breath of fresh air. A lot of his old fans hated it. I loved it. Just a different sheen. And on the album after that, he produced Shining On. It's even more prominent. And a critic wrote, hey, Grand Funk Railroad's from Flint, Michigan, not the Crab Nebula, because there's all those Todd's spacey production things he really put on that second album he produced with them. But I do love what he did with the band. And like I said, they were my favorite band as a youngster back in the day. And I loved his production on it.
Sean Barnes, I just want to say, you just wait, my friend. You just wait. We're only at number 4. Well, DC, I must say, I didn't think that Grand Funk would make an appearance on my show ever.
Right there, man.
But, oh, God.
Leave
You
it
too,
to
Byron. God help me.
Notice that.
Gee,
Signing on.
Christmas.
Leave it to me to gum up the words.
Vanessa
for you,
says,
Grant.
I'd love to talk Grand Funk. We should do a Grand Funk show.
I'm
I
your
just
man.
don't get it. I just don't get it.
I've got a great story for you of a young DC bringing home the live album.
Byron, stop rubbing it in my face.
The live album, my dad taking a look at it and said, what's this song, TNUC? I didn't know what it meant. It's something spelled backwards, but young D at the time didn't know what TNUC was spelled backwards. I think my dad was testing me. So what does this kid really know?
Hey, Byron. Hey, nice seeing you. Thanks for coming on. Gotta be the 4 young
Chiquitas in Omaha.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
DMG is from Omaha, I think, aren't you? I think I
DMG, are you from Omaha?
I think he is.
Wasn't he on when he rapping with us, Byron?
I think he went to. I think I was just chatting with him on Pete's show the other night.
Holy crap, he's following you around. All right. Great. Bring more people over here, Byron. Excellent. All right. Todd Evans, what's your number 4?
Okay, well, my number 4 is kind of a relatively obscure album. I don't have a physical copy of it, but it's War Babies by Daryl Hall and John Oates. This is a weird album, but it's really strong. It's not. I've read. I mean, I'm looking at a review of it right now that says that people were disappointed by it because it wasn't really Blue-Eyed Soul, but I still think it is. Whenever I hear Daryl Hall sing, I always hear Todd Rundgren. I think they're very complimentary. Oh
yeah, they're like
point. Yep.
So I think it still is, but it's got some hard rock in it. It's got some prog influences in it. It's got some time signature changes, and it's got a whole bunch of ARP string ensemble, which is a sound that I really like. And so it's kind of lush in places, but very cool album. The 3rd album from Atlantic, just before they jumped over to RCA. And, it's really funny. People talk about how Matt Erdogan of Atlantic Records is such a genius, but I don't know why he couldn't figure out how to break Hall & Oates until they jumped labels. But anyway, it's always been a mystery to me.
That's a good point, Todd. Why did it elude them? But
I don't know how he didn't do it, because they what ended up happening was She's Gone hit later after they had already released them. So there's a story there, I'm sure. I probably really should know that. But some people from the big Utopia, the Prague Utopia band are playing on this. John Siegler, John G. Wilcox, otherwise known as Willie Wilcox.
That's where they got Willie from.
Yeah.
That's how he got.
It's a very cool album, very surprising. It starts with a John Oates song, Can't Stop the Music. He played it too long. He played it much too long, which was the single, didn't go anywhere. But it was the only 3 of the albums that they released on Atlantic that got to, it was the highest charting album. It was their first charting album. It got to number 86 on the Billboard 200. So that's how badly they were doing before they jumped labels. But very cool album. I've always been kind of turned off by the cover, so I never really paid much attention to it. But
I mean, the cover,
it's really good.
You look at the cover, Todd, it's like, that doesn't say, please buy me.
Right.
At all. It's drab.
It's a 40s collage of war era kind of graphics that just don't gel.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you say that if let's say you look at their whole catalog, I'm just throwing it out there. Do you think that that's probably their most neglected record, would you say, in their catalog? At least one of them? No
I
one
think
talks about War Babies. It's
I
just
think
kinda,
now it is. I think this and Whole Oats are probably the first one are probably the most neglected. At the time, it did the best out of the first three, but
Mhm.
I don't know why that is. It almost seems like it was a coincidence, but because I think Abandoned Luncheonette gets talked about a lot because it's got an iconic cover.
Yeah.
But that's a cool album too.
Yeah, Ecstatic.
Oh,
by
I like
Hall & Oates
Ecstatic.
doesn't get a whole lot of
Yeah.
chatter either.
It's almost like Voices. Almost.
They
It's got Wait
almost
For
did
Me
that
on
new
it,
wave thing, but not quite.
Yeah.
but it's a
And
good
then Voices
record.
came out, and then you kind of went, "Oh, there it is."
Along the Red Ledge is another great one.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
They were putting out some great stuff then. I don't know if anybody cares about it now, but we do on Grant's Rock Warehouse. We care about all those Hall & Oates albums. All right, Byron Bolt. And thank you, Todd. That was I wasn't thinking that we'd have some Hall & Oates. So
I didn't think I
love
would
it.
pick that one, but I really like it.
Excellent. Now I'm going to have to write. I'm going to have to make a note to make sure. I haven't, to be quite honest, before we go to Byron, I have not ever heard that record. Now you've got me all worked up. I'm going to have to listen to it. All right, Byron Bolt, what you got?
Yeah, one thing I was going to mention before I did my first one, it seems like with Todd, when he produces, you either know it's him completely, like with some of the things we're going to talk about, it's like, oh, this definitely sounds like Todd or Utopia.
Mhm.
But there's other albums like that Grand Funk where it's like, I
You
don't
can't
think
tell.
you wouldn't know that was him, but he did such a great job with them that that's one of his strengths is, you know, he brought out the best in them. But anyway, so my next choice is already discussed, but it's going to be Remote Control. I really like this. This is probably my favorite Tubes album, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. It's definitely up there. Todd had already talked a little bit about it. Like when this one, at times you can definitely hear Todd's influence. And then there's some other songs where you don't necessarily hear it as much. But like some of my favorites on here are Turn Me On, TV is King, Prime Time, and the Teleside, which Teleside it's kind of got this Stairway to Cleveland or maybe End of the World as we know it kind of feel to it where they're talking real fast, you know.
Yeah. Manic.
Yeah. There's a few songs on here that definitely I think sound like Utopia. I Want It All Now, Only the Strong Survive, Love's a Mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Get Overture, which is more of an instrumental. It's a little proggy at times.
I like that too.
And I'll end it by saying that Fee was born in Omaha.
There you go.
Well, it's right down the street from Matthew Sweet, right?
Right? I don't know. I don't know if his dad was maybe in the military or I don't know, but he was born here apparently. So
All right,
I'll just throw that out there.
excellent. There's a lot of Tubes mentioned here tonight. My number 4 is going to be, you thought Wasp was wacky choice. This is a wacky choice too, but we covered this on my channel and I really didn't pay attention to it until we talked about it on the Tubes episode. But I think I'm going to go with Love Bomb because it's way out there. I mean, there's some elements of it. I mean, you've got the version of Feel It that's on here that Todd ended up taking and played on Nearly Human, which is great. But Piece by Piece, Stella, Come As You Are. I mean, side 1's fairly straightforward, but side 2 is like, it's a strange record. You thought Wasp was strange. This is strange.
Yeah,
but it's very creative. There's nothing like this during this era. Because what was this, 85? Help me. I can't see. What was this, Todd?
86?
It made mid-70s, definitely.
No, in mid-80s, right?
Mid-80s, definitely.
85.
85. Okay, so I was right. Who was doing anything like this in 85? Think about it. This predates Skylarking, which I think I'm not going to say that that's in my choice. I think that album's horrible. But if you think about it, this is almost as creative as Skylarking in a different way. This is very experimental. No one's doing anything like this. Is almost like a concept record. I don't know what the concept is because it's so bizarre. But as a listening experience, I think it's some of Todd's best work. Now, the only fault that I have to say is that it does sound like Todd. You know, it does have that stamp.
And Grant, I think I mentioned when you guys did the Love Bomb show a while back, I typed in that second side reminds me of the Tube's version of A Wizard, a True Star. It's like taking some of the Tube elements and doing a half side of an album that's like Todd's Wizard, a True Star. Just songs going into each other, and yeah, that's how it's always struck me.
Damn, DC, that's a really good point. But think about it. Who was doing anything like this in 85?
No,
I applaud Todd and I applaud the Tubes for what they did here. It's a great listen. Don't listen to the reviews. A lot of the critics tore it apart. Maybe it shouldn't have been. Maybe it's not right for 1985. But I swear, give it a listen, give it a shot.
You people
my number 4.
Listen to the Brain Trust here at Grant's Rock Warehouse. We will not steer you wrong.
Go back and watch our episode on Love Bomb.
Go back and watch Love Bomb. Here we go. Ernesto. Art rock with style.
Very true.
Oh,
Very true.
Anthony Farrell, Crimson, maybe. Maybe. It's out there. But, you know, I like it. And I'm glad we looked at it on the Tubes episode because made me have a whole new appreciation for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's go to our number 3. Daryl, what you got?
All right, for number 3, I've got Bourgeois Tags Yo-Yo.
Yes.
And
yeah,
I had that original CD when it came out. I haven't heard it in years.
Oh, yeah, tremendous. I mean, every song here is a winner for me. This is like 10 tracks, 10 great songs, not a slacker among them. Like a lot of Todd's production, if you like Utopia, you'll like Bourgeois Tag. It's interesting because unlike a lot of Todd's other productions, he doesn't appear on this album at all, but the sound of this band is so much like Utopia. It's interesting to see he's on the other side of the veneer from the performers. He's clearly in the production stage with this album. He didn't contribute writing any of the songs or anything. So this is a clear separation. But again, it's very much like Utopia. The songs are wonderful. The production is pristine, very Todd. There's definitely an 80s vibe here, but it doesn't seem to be bogged down by a lot of the trappings of 80s production.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the solid songwriting and performing. There was the one hit, I Don't Mind at All, which
wonderful.
is very Beatle-like to me, to my ears. And Todd liked this band so much that when they folded, he brought all of them on to his touring band for that Nearly Human excursion. And I think a lot of them played on the album as well, except Brett Bourgeois. He did his own thing, but the rest of the band, he brought them into the fold.
When I saw the tour for The Individualist, they were Brent and Larry were in that band.
That as well.
Wow, that'd be cool. I didn't see that tour. That'd be a great tour to see.
That tour was nothing like the album The Individualist.
It wasn't?
It was guitar-driven, heavy rock.
I'll be damned.
One of those Rundgren surprises. You never know what you're going to get.
Cool. All right.
That's my number 3.
Excellent choice. All right, Mr. Evans, what you got?
Okay. Well, for my number 3, I almost didn't want to pick an album by this artist, and because I'm really not that big of a fan of this band, but they're in this list twice. The Tubes, Love Bomb, and this is what I always say about Love Bomb. You know what's wrong with Love Bomb? Not a damn thing. There is nothing wrong with this record.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Even if you think side 2 is weird, side 1 is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's accessible. It sounds commercial. It's well engineered. It's well produced, and it's got Theme from a Woolly Place on side 2, which is Woolly Bully, and Theme from a Summer Place played at the same time.
Isn't that inspired? And you'd
How can you
never
not love that?
You'd never envision those two songs being able to be meshed together. It just
No,
It's never happened since.
I just think it's a great album. When it came out, I loved it, and I've just assumed that one of those first 4 songs were going to be a hit, and they weren't.
Jay Moore, the Tom Robinson Band. I've always heard. You guys
know
ever
what?
heard the Tom Robinson Band album? I've heard great things about it.
I'm
all I've
hesitant
heard
to
is the
admit
one
that I've
track
never
that's
heard
on
any of
that
their
collection
stuff.
I showed you guys.
Ernesto says it all comes back to Love Bomb.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
All comes back to Wasp.
Wasp started it off. Well, that Todd, great minds think alike. You rated yours higher though, but
Just a little.
All right, Byron Bolt, let's hear yours.
All right. My number 3. We've already kind of mentioned this one. Let's get another repeat appearance tonight.
Oh,
Oh,
There
for
we go,
God
Grant.
Almighty.
This bad boy. Look at that.
oh, he's got the.
You've got the original yellow.
I do too. Yeah, I do
Oh,
too.
you guys braggers.
With the stickers. And
I
it's-
do not have my sticker.
Wow.
This is a
Ended up on
really
Netflix
nice
back in
copy
the
I
day.
got for $1.
Hey, Todd, can you remind me not to have these guys on anymore?
But anyway,
I'm just telling you
Who,
that.
who are you talking to? Your executive assistant?
Yeah. Can you make sure we don't have them on anymore? Anyway, Byron, go ahead.
Yeah, we're an American band. This is American rock and roll right here. By an American band.
Byron, what song on that album would you suggest to Grant? Because he hates Grand Funk. I would suggest Creepin'. I think if he heard that song, he would have a whole new appreciation.
Hey, I think We're American Band's a great 45.
Oh yeah, Creepin' is a totally different vibe though, that song. You would not think it was Grand Funk Railroad at all. I'm just throwing something out there that you might listen to it and say, well, that's
Well,
really
I could
pretty
give it a
darn good.
shot.
Yeah, that title track was very popular with the Chiquitas here in Omaha. I can tell you that.
The Chiquitas?
Yeah. So anyway.
What are we talking about? Brian C. 45 of We're American Band was in yellow vinyl. I had it. Holy crap.
So yeah, like we said, you don't really hear Todd on this at all, in my opinion. And
I don't hear any Todd.
This
on
was
the 45.
recorded in 4 days. I read, and it got to the number 2 in the Billboard charts. We like DC mentioned, Brewer did a lot more singing on this album than he had done in the past.
Mhm.
Some of the songs I really like are Black Licorice.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
real fast and funky track.
Yep.
I like the Railroad. It's real slow, soulful, a lot of organ in that. And Walk Like a Man was just a good straight ahead rocker, kind of a minor hit, I think. I don't really know.
Yeah, and certainly not in the category of We're an American Band, but at least it made into the teens.
It's a good song though.
But
So-
that Railroad song, it's interesting because there's rhythmic. It sounds like a hammer pounding on a rail, on the rails, building the railroad. It's just got some very interesting elements working in it, and I'm sure a lot of that is Todd's contribution.
Well, you know
Sounds
that
like-
whole deet, 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 deet thing in the piano or the keyboard line in the We're American Band? That's Todd's doing that. Deet, 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 you know, the whatever it is. They didn't want to do that, but Todd said, no, that'll make it a hit. He was right.
That was a hit.
It was a hit. Let it be. Let it be.
Let it be said. So
Let it
it
be
is
said.
said. So it is so.
So, Byron, is that it? You got any more?
Yeah, you know, 2 of us have discussed it. That's everything I want.
I think that's great. Now we're going to talk about, you know how Ernesto said everything comes back to Love Bomb? Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Now, this album has flaws. It's not my favorite Cheap Trick album, but it's the last album before everything fell apart. And I'm going to go with Next Position, Please. This has got a lot of Todd on it, but the songs are great. I mean, it's got Robin Zander's I Can't Take It, which is a pop masterpiece.
Yep.
Next Position, Please is good. Next Position, Please is actually an old song they recorded Next Position Please during Dream Police that never made it to the record, so they brought it back out.
Oh.
Younger Girls is an old song they used to play back in the bars. You say Why Oh Why Oh Why is a great ballad. I Won't Take Love for an Answer is great. Heaven's Falling is Todd Rundgren.
Todd is all, that's
which is one of my favorite Todd Rundgren songs that he doesn't sing. He gave it to Cheap Trick, and it is infectious.
Yeah.
And it's also got Invaders of the Heart 3. I don't mind this record, really. I wish it would. The only thing that I don't like is this is around the same time where Todd did Tortured Artist. So he liked that Ovation 12-string sound. So it's like that piezo pickup on a Ovation 12-string going through an amp. There's a lot of that on here. But it's of the time. I get it. It's okay. But I Can't Take It and Heaven's Falling is worth the price of admission alone.
Those two tracks are just stellar.
It's stellar. Do I wish that Tom Werman was back? I do. But this was the last hurrah until the 97 Cheap Trick album. So I still listen to this. I saw him on this tour. It was phenomenal. Highly recommend it. I Can't Take It. Invaders of the Heart. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant stuff. So that's my, what is that? My number 3?
3.
Oh, we'll get into the good stuff though now. All right. So wait a minute. We've got comment. DMG, Byron's buddy. Top 5 Cheap Trick album for me.
Omaha.
All right. All right, Omaha. Teddy. Teddy's digging something over there. I don't know what's going on. Probably a rat or a mouse or something. Anyway, top 5 Cheap Trick. All right, cool. All right, now to our number 2. Let's throw it over to Daryl. Teddy, come here.
Well, this was previously discussed, and I could have gone in either direction because I love them both probably equally. I don't really hold one. Well, maybe. Okay, decision. This one is a smidgen ahead of this one. But I picked this one because this had been discussed before on a previous Rock Warehouse episode. So I went with Remote Control, and we already went through a lot of the reasoning and everything. Let me see if I've got anything here in my notes that we didn't bring up. I'll say that Todd and the Tubes was such a tremendous match because I think personality-wise and what they bring to their musical creations, there's a lot of similar things, like their experimental side, their sense of humor, and I think it locked together really well in doing these little bit off the beaten path type approaches. Another thing I found out about this album was what's that one song? The song Prime Time. Originally, Todd wanted Rhys Styles, who was their female singer, to sing that whole song. Once Fee heard that was the plan, he says, nah, baby, not going to happen on my watch. So they kind of exchanged verses. But Todd's original vision was for Rhys Styles to sing that whole song and not have it be a duet. And also, this little Hollywood Squares thing. When I was doing a little research, 3 of the Tubes actually were on Hollywood Squares at that time, made an appearance. I don't remember that, but that's what the information I read said. They were probably in that bottom middle square that no one ever went to during the game, unless it was a complete
bottom left, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's a good choice, but you said you would rate remote control just a notch higher?
Just ever so little. I mean, I could just say they're even. I love them both, but
this is geeky. Is that the A&M CD or is that the remaster? What do you have?
I got the A&M.
Okay. I think the remaster's got bonus tracks on it.
Oh, okay. Well,
I didn't pull it. I should have pulled it. All right, Daryl, that's a good choice. It's just match. It's like Tubes night here at Grant's Rock Warehouse. Who knew? But that's what's fun about this. because who knows what here people are going to choose. All right, Todd Evans, what you got for your number 2?
Okay, well, when I first started thinking about this topic, I knew what my 1, 2, and 3 were going to be. And so, and I knew that this was my number 2. And it's Forever Now by the Psychedelic Furs.
Oh my God! Yes,
I was happy to get this minty copy that came from someplace called Good Vibrations. I don't know where that is, but yeah, this is a great record. There's tons of stuff that I learned about this record that I'll try to go through some of it. They had been having Steve Lillywhite produce them. He produced their first 2 albums, and when this album came around, they couldn't fit him into his schedule. And the Columbia Records management wanted David Bowie to produce it because David Bowie had been talking about how he liked the Psychedelic Furs in interviews and stuff. And the time frame that he gave them, they would have had to waited way too long to do it. And so then that Lillywhite offered to fit the band into his schedule, and they declined. And it was the drummer Vince Eli who suggested Todd Rundgren. And Vince Eli was about to be, the band wasn't sure if he was even going to continue being in the band. And after this album came out, he left the band. But it was Vince Eli's idea. And they went to Todd's house. They went to Utopia Sound Studio. Actually, they first visited Utopia Sound Studio. And he quickly signed on. They got along good. And they recorded it. He invited them to move into the commercial space that was in the studios that were in his house on Mink Hollow Road in Lake Hill, New York. And they recorded it over 6 weeks. And I've heard a couple of things about this. I remember hearing in an interview with Richard Butler back in the day that somebody asked him what it was like to work with Todd Rundgren, and he said, well, I've heard stories that he gets up in the middle of the night while you're sleeping and goes downstairs and re-records all the guitar parts. He said, but he didn't do that to us. So I always thought that was a great quote. Apparently, Flo and Eddie, Howard Kalin and Mark Volman sing on backup, like on Love My Way, which I didn't know until I was today years old. And Todd Rundgren plays saxophone on this record, on the song "No Easy Street." So I really love this record. The sound of it is really great. If you think about skylarking and you think about how the song "Earn Enough for Us" sounds, that's kind of what the drum sound of this album sounds like. It's very dense and very much Todd Rundgren's drum sound. And I just really like it. And one of the things that's also good about it is a lot of the Furs albums are front loaded to where the album that comes after this, Mirror Moves, and the one after that, Midnight to Midnight, were like this. They were side 1 is great and side 2 kind of drops off. Forever Now is not like that. It's very strong from beginning to end. So that's my number 2.
Excellent. I totally forgot about that record. I love that record. That's a great.
And I don't know if I said it came out in 1982.
You did now.
Okay.
All right, Byron Bolt. What you got? What's your number 2?
I'm going back and forth on 1 and 2 here.
Oh well, do you need a moment? Or?
No. I'm gonna go with one that you've already mentioned. I'm gonna go with the Cheap Trick. An exposition, please.
Yes.
So, this came out August 15th, 1983. Got to Billboard number 61. You had mentioned the guitars. Yeah. The guitars definitely sound more like Todd than they do typical Cheap Trick, I think.
It sounds like Todd off of Tortured Artist Effect.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
So the CD and the cassette had 2 bonus tracks originally, and You Talk Too Much, Don't Make Our Love a Crime. And then there was a 2006 CD which had 2 more tracks, Twisted Heart and Don't Hit Me With Love. Apparently, they didn't want to do Dancing the Night Away by the Motors. And Todd didn't want to produce it, but the record company made him do it and put it on the record. And they also forced him to put "You Say Jump" on the record. So that's why you've got 3 different versions of this thing, apparently. Some of my favorites are "I Can't Take It," of course. I like "Borderline." "I Don't Love Here Anymore," the title track. Why? And then, like you mentioned, "Heaven's Falling." It's great. It sounds like Todd or Utopia, really, but yeah, I guess that's all I'm going to say about that. So I really like it. I even think that "Standing on the Edge" is pretty good, though. So
I do too.
It didn't really fall apart till the Doctor.
That
I don't
makes
think
2 of
terrible.
us. That makes 2 of us that like Standing
Right.
on the Edge. I think we're it. I wanted to mention too that the only reason that Next Position Please didn't make my list is I thought there was too much distance between the great songs and the not great songs, and that was the only reason why I didn't put it on there. But the great songs are really great.
Yeah,
They are.
You guys
really
have already
great.
mentioned them.
And I'm just going to say again, I wish Tom Werman had a crack at it. But I'm done talking about Tom Werman. But Dan, we're just doing not his own albums tonight. No.
That would have been too hard.
Yeah.
we did that
Roadmaster,
already.
first 2 albums
Yeah.
he produced. There you go. That's a good. Never heard those, but
You
I
got
should
to
check those
send
out.
that Dan back to watch the episode where we did Todd's best albums.
Yeah, Dan, we did a Utopia show. We did a Todd show. Check the links down below.
Yeah.
That'll get you caught up. But thanks for coming on tonight. Anybody, I'm going to say it again. Please leave a like. Please leave a thumbs up below if you can. I would appreciate it. Okay, kids. Sean Barnes, are you still around? Two of my favorite Todd productions are the first 2 Pursuit of Happiness albums, Love Junk and One Sided Story. Well, we're talking about the Pursuit of Happiness right now because here's Pursuit of Happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Holy crap. And
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, but I cannot choose between this one and One Sided Story. I'm putting these together because they're almost like they go hand in hand. Both albums sound the same. It's just like the Cars and, Candy-O. They're just like the same record. But, oh my God. Mo Berg he almost sounds like Chasm Sultan on here. I mean, it doesn't sound like Todd playing guitar. It doesn't particularly sound like a Todd production. But Mo could easily fit in to Utopia and blend right in with the rest of the band.
Mm-hmm.
Catchy songs, hard to laugh. I'm an Adult Now's on here. She's So Young.
Catchy as hell. Isn't that
Catchy as hell, like a power pop classic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is power pop pretty much. Looking for Girls, Killed by Love, When the Sky Comes Falling Down. Incredible. You look at One Sided Story. Love Junk, by the way, came out in 88. And One Sided Story, which I've got it, but I didn't pull it. Fail. Because I'm just winging it. Came out in 1990, had Two Girls in Love, the song Shave Your Legs, which is absolute wonderful pop bliss. Runs in the Family, Forbidden Fruit. I don't know. I like both of these albums, both interchangeably. But yeah, number 2, Pursuit of Happiness. Well, very forgotten now, but Canadian greatness right here.
Yep.
I
Agreed.
highly recommend it if you can pick it up. God knows you could ever find the vinyl anywhere, but I did back in 1998. So there you go. That's my number 2. All right, Daryl, what you got? What's your number 1?
Drum roll. This got a feeling this may come up at least another time here. My number 1 is, I was talking to Grant before, and I know we all listen to a lot of music, and I have a lot of music that I really like, really love, but very few albums I'll listen to, and they just flat out knock me on my ass when I hear them for the first time. One of them was Jellyfish's Spilt Milk, and the other is Skylarking,
Yeah,
XTC.
that album sucks. No, it doesn't. It's
You
brilliant.
are horrible on this show with your picks, with your Grand Funks and your Skylarkings.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my
But go ahead.
you.
What do you have to? I'm surprised that you're number one.
What?
I said I'm surprised that you're number one.
You are.
No, I'm not.
Shocker. It's just masterful in every way with the production, the organization of the songs, how they flow one into the other, the little transitional aspects of the end of a song leading into what the beginning of the following song are. All that stuff is Todd. I mean, putting it all together. He and Andy Partridge did not get along at all. And I think I mentioned this to you as well, Grant, that it got to a point that every time Todd entered the studio while they were making this album, Andy would play the theme to the Munsters. And Todd never caught on because Todd's got kind of a really kind of Herman Munster-ish head. At least that's what Andy was trying to get him with. But
Well,
even Andy had to come around and say that Todd just did a tremendous job with this album.
well, if you think about it, Todd is an arranger.
His arranging skills are probably his strongest point.
But he knows what to do with other artists. You have to admit. He's
sizes,
better with other artists than probably himself,
He put Colin Moulding up on a little bit more of a pedestal closer to Andy, and that may have been another thing that ticked Andy off because this was his band. He liked to run the show. They weren't touring, so he really wanted to control things in the studio. And Todd deferred a bit more to Colin and his songs when he was picking what was going to go on Skylarking.
Yeah, Colin got didn't he get like 4 songs?
More representation than I understand.
It's a lot more balanced.
Yeah, with previous albums by XTC. But
yeah.
I look at this album as kind of like a pastoral version of Sgt. Pepper.
Oh yeah.
It just strikes me that way.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I did pick up the revamped version of this, where the recording was slightly askew on the original, and then they corrected a lot of the things on this.
The thing is, the first CD, and there's some band pictures. I don't know if I can get them zoomed in. They all look like pilgrims. Because the original story, XTC didn't want Dear God on it, even though it was part of the record. So they had Mermaid Smile on it. And then they decided, since Dear God took off on the college market, they added Dear God back in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the original CD, I've got the original Virgin Black Triangle CD that's got Mermaid Smiled on it.
Oh, okay.
Without Dear God, I don't think it's futzed with. I don't know about you gentlemen, but I can't hear the phasing issue.
Well, here's my thing. If Skylarking was reverse polarity or whatever they call it, out of phase, is this too? Because it sounds an awful lot like it. Not music wise, but the way the drums and the bass are engineered. So I don't know if I buy that.
I don't buy it either.
I don't know if I buy it. And it's not really for me to buy. If somebody says it was out of phase, then it's out of phase. But it doesn't seem like it is to me. I still go to the original Geffen CD is still my go-to.
I like the original Geffen CD. It's fine. The Black Triangle that's just got Mermaid Smiled on it sounds great too.
I don't know. On Mermaid Smile, I always hear kind of a drag on that. With the opening guitar playing, it sounds like the tape or whatever. There's a drag on it to my ears. That may be something wrong with me. I'll allow for that. But that's the one song of all of them where I'm thinking there's something that's a bit askew.
I don't know.
Here, a drag.
Did Wilson remix it?
No,
he did not. Okay.
I don't think so. There's an
8
Records version of it, which is the latest one that's approved by Andy Partridge, and I don't think Steven Wilson remixed that, but I'm not sure.
Well, Daryl, you've got the
But Andy
The
says that's the best
remaster,
one.
is that the ape? Is that the ape version or is that the virgin? What version of the CD
It's
you got
ape.
there? It's ape.
Andy's label.
How's it sound?
I can tell a difference in it.
There's a subtle
But if
difference,
you guys aren't hearing, if you prefer the Geffen, like I said, it's not as pronounced as a lot of people make it out to be.
I don't know if I prefer it as much as I'm used to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something to be said for that too, because I even know that when I had LPs and there was a skip on the vinyl, when I get a CD version of it, I kind of miss the skip.
Well, you can kind of train.
Right.
Song where it goes, and I love you.
You get trained to hear it.
Yeah,
you can't get over it.
It's your comfort level with the material.
All right.
So I know it's going to come up again. So that's all I'll say about
It
that.
might. I don't know if it's going to come up again.
Yeah.
Todd
You're the
Evans.
Grand Funk guy. What do you know, man?
What are you, Grand Funk? Good God. Jesus. All right, Todd Evans, what you got? What's your
So I'm
number
going to
one?
segue right into Skylarking by XTC. The thing about Skylarking for me is that I had the original vinyl, the Geffen vinyl, that had Mermaid Smiled on it. And then I had the Dear God version, and this is the version of the CD with Dear God on it. And then the most recent, the vinyl release that Ape put out, Ape Records, has them both. They're both mixed in there. And all three versions are great. I don't have a problem with any of them. I think Mermaid Smile sounds great in that spot. I think Dear God sounds great in that spot. And I like all of them. Some facts about this album. It was the record company, their UK record company, Virgin, said that if they didn't sell 70,000 records this time, they were going to drop them. And so they wanted somebody that would do it cheap. And one of the things that they concluded was that they thought that XTC sounded too English. So Rundgren agreed to do the job for $150,000, including the cost of tape, the studio, the lodging for the band, and his production fee. And the band accepted that. So I don't know how that ranks along with what people usually pay a producer, but that sounds pretty reasonable to me. The record company was looking to save some money. There was a really great line that I remember, the story that I remember from one of the books about XTC. And I don't remember the name of it, so I'm not going to mention it because I'm not sure which book it comes from. But this is something that I read back in the 90s that Andy Partridge picked up Todd Rundgren picked up Andy Partridge from the airport and drove him to the studio, which was his house. And on the way there, they stopped at a music store, and Andy Partridge bought a broken Prophet 5 keyboard. And Andy Partridge was like, "Why are you buying that? It's broken." And Todd was like, "I can fix it." So as soon as they got to Todd's house, as soon as they got to the studio, he takes out this Prophet 5 and he gets a screwdriver. He starts taking it apart. I mean, even before he says, "Can I take your coat? Would you like something to drink?" He's just taking apart this Prophet 5. And I always thought, he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I always thought that was a funny story. One of the things that happened during the recording of this was that apparently Colin Moulding and Andy Partridge weren't getting along. And in a lot of the arguments, Rundgren would side with Colin Moulding or send Andy Partridge out of the room, and Andy Partridge kind of liked that. And so there's one quote where Andy Partridge says something like, "I want to do this again because I think I can make it better." And Todd Rundgren said, "It'll be different, but it won't necessarily be better." So they were kind of picking at each other during the whole thing. But I think that they came up with something really great. I think The Man Who Sailed Around His Soul is spectacular. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. I love the way it's engineered. I love the way the drums are played. Prairie Prince plays on it, and it was I recently on Twitter, somebody asked me, I hate to talk about Twitter because what a mess that place is, but somebody said, pick your 10 favorite album closers, and Sacrificial Bonfire definitely made that list. I think it's dark and sad and wonderful, and I love the sound effects, the sound of the fire crackling and everything. I just think that the continuity is great. The ideas that Rundgren had for the continuity are great, and I just think it came out in when did this record come out? 1986.
86.
Yeah, I was in college working at the college radio station. It was probably the time in my life when I was most into XTC, and everybody loved this record.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be a bigger hit than it was. I really did. I think it deserved to be.
Mm-hmm. Definitely deserves to be.
Yeah. But that's my number one.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice. Well, Byron, you're going to bring up.
Apparently, I need to listen to some XTC. I've only ever listened to maybe one or two albums once, I think, because Pete Pardo did. I think he ranked his XTC albums. So I think I might have listened to like his top two just to check them out, but I don't even remember what they were. That might have been one of them. I don't know. I'll have to check it out though, because it just was never in my wheelhouse.
That's all right. That's fair.
So I'm going to go for my number one. I don't know that this is necessarily my favorite. It's up there. I never owned this till 2 years ago. I'd heard most of it, but I'm going to go with the Bat Out of Hell.
Holy mackerel. Okay.
I never owned this until I got it from a buddy a couple of years ago. So, I knew all the stuff on the radio. But you can't deny. I mean, this thing sold 43 million copies.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's great, but it was popular. Only got to Billboard number 14, though, apparently, is what I read. It was recorded in 75 to 76, but didn't get released till late 77. Because DC had said, nobody was really that interested in it originally. But I remember, so this was 77. I was 13. And I remember one night I heard Paradise by the Dashboard Light on the radio, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Much like Phil Rizzuto.
I was like, what is? And then I didn't hear it again for a long time. But then what I was reading on Wikipedia is it talked about how so the album really didn't do a lot originally, but it says that in Omaha, believe it or not, Cleveland and New York, those were the first markets to get on board with the album. And it wasn't until Paradise by the Dashboard Light became a hit that I started hearing it again. And I was like, well, shit, I heard this like a year ago. And I hadn't heard it, and people were like, oh, this is great. Like, well, I heard this a long time ago, but it just disappeared for a while. And then, all the other songs, I guess, were hits. And then they reissued that as a single. But so, yes, it says that Rundgren thought this was funny, the whole idea of the album, because he thought it was a parody of Springsteen. Okay,
it sounds very Springsteen.
But I had never put that together till I read it. And then I was like listening to it some more. And I'm like, yeah, I see that. Springsteen's big on having really verses that just go on and on and on and on. Really long, very wordy verses, and there's a lot of that on here. And then you'll hear it with the Max Weinberg. He's the piano player, right, from the Springs. Mm-hmm. You'll hear the piano playing at times where it's just mostly just some piano and maybe a little bit of back. It's like, wow, this sounds like Springsteen at times, and that Todd and Utopia basically backed this for the most part with Max Weinberg and Roy Bittan. And there's a lot of teenage angst in the lyrics, which is another kind of a Springsteen thing, I think. And it's just, the more I listen to it, the more I hear a little bit of Springsteen in it. So I'm going to go with that as my number one. I don't know. I think I might prefer the Cheap Trick a little bit over that, but
that's okay.
I said I was back and forth on the two. So that's going to be my number one.
According to Ernesto, nobody rocks a handkerchief better than Meatloaf.
Now, I don't know. I imagine that some of you guys were probably around and remember when that Meatloaf album came out. But when it came out, the whole idea of something coming out that was called Meatloaf was very strange. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think that's part of why it caught on, is because people were like, is his name Meatloaf? is Meat his first name and Loaf is his second name? Is that the name of the band? And I remember there being a lot of discussion about that. So
there were so many things discussed about that album, because if you look at the album cover art, you're expecting some heavy metal experience.
Right?
Yeah. And that led even more into the conversation, because what was advertised on the front isn't what you got when you put the vinyl on the turntable. So I remember there was a lot of discussion name-wise, and Meatloaf, just what's this all about? You look at the album cover and it belies what lies, on the vinyl.
Yeah, the songs they're like these little stories, and some of it was based on Broadway play, I guess, but there's just something about those songs that I'm just rambling here, but
no, you're not rambling. I totally get it.
Nope.
You're making sense.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Jerry G, Dream Todd production.
I would think that would just be a collision of, there's going to be no give there. Just like everyone's always clamoring for a McCartney, Brian Wilson. Although I don't think there'd be fisticuffs or anything. I don't know. I think Todd and Paul would be too much.
I think Paul knows too much. He can't. I don't think he can produce Paul.
Entities.
I think it would be bad. But Dan did say this. Did Todd ever have a band he produced actually pull an admiration society like the Turtles did for Ray Davies on Turtle Soup? You mean hire them because they thought because they were so into Ray as an idol, they wanted him to produce? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that comment kind of confused me, because I was trying to figure out just exactly what Dan was getting at.
Well, Dan, if you look at Skylarking, I mean, don't forget, Dave Gregory was totally a big Todd fan. He loved it. He loved it. He was all giddy to get Todd in there. And he was the factor to really get in. I think Andy Partridge has only heard anything at that point. But Dave Gregg was a big Todd fan. So if you think an admiration society, I think that would count, because Todd wouldn't have been there hadn't it been for Dave Gregory, I don't think. After producing Meatloaf, he had to go at Hot Tuna.
Snare.
All right, because my number one is going to be a shocking.
Very
Turtle
controversial.
Soup sounds exactly like a Kinks album. Well, kind of. I'm going to have to go with Skylarking. I think this album is absolutely brilliant. This particular copy is the original Geffen copy with Mermaid Smile. Doesn't have Dear God on it. I got it back in the day for $4.
Look at that. How about you? Was it $4.20?
No, just $4.
$4. Holy cats.
Look at that. I don't know how much it goes for now. But this doesn't have Dear God on it, but Mermaid Smile. Either one. I'll take it either way with Dear God or Mermaid Smile. Absolutely brilliant. I really can't build upon anything other than what Daryl and Todd said. You both said it absolutely perfectly. Beautiful sequencing, beautiful production. What Todd did to this record, he brought all the songs together. He knew how to arrange. He knew what tracks to pull. He put together XTC's masterpiece. Now, some people may not think that this is her masterpiece. I think this is her masterpiece. I think this is where everything came together. I know it was a terrible time in the studio, but Todd got results. I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah.
And if I was going to a desert island and I had to pick 10 records, one Beatle record and the rest would be something else, this would be on my list for the desert island. Mm-hmm. I rank it that highly.
Just as a piece, just as a album, as albums were back in the day, just masterful. Like I said, a pastoral Sgt. Pepper to me, just how it strikes me. But yeah. Fantastic.
Well, it's essentially just didn't they always think that it was like an extension of the Dukes? you know, they had those two Dukes Stratosphere records,
Mhm.
and they just looked at this as kind of an extension of that. And Apples and Oranges is kind of an extension of Skylarking, you know.
Yeah, Oranges and Lemon. That's a very strong follow-up. I mean,
Wow.
it's not thematic like that would hit you with Skylarking,
Damn.
but song for
Todd
song,
Bot.
fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know. We might need a Todd Bot to produce these records. I don't know.
You know, I think that the albums that came after this, especially the two that came after it, Oranges and Lemons and Nonesuch, are both very good albums as well. And in fact, if you dissect Nonesuch and take it track by track and really analyze it, it's probably more impressive than Skylarking. But for some reason, Skylarking holds together better as one thing.
A complete
And-
work. Yeah, I
As a
would agree.
complete work.
Nonesuch is spectacular, but there's something about the way this feels from beginning to end that's
Mhm.
above it.
Yep.
But I know we're not doing an XTC show, and I've said this before.
That's
But
all I'll say.
Apple Venus, I think, is
It's great too. Yeah,
it's
great too.
right below Skylarking for me.
Yeah,
I
very
think
good.
Apple Venus is absolutely brilliant. And XTC is one of those bands that could keep going, and they never got worse. They just kept going and got better and better and better. Whether you like certain records or not, there's not a bad record in the XTC catalog. No, they just absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. I've spoken. So there you go, kids. There's our ranking. Byron's going to stand out with the Meatloaf, and the rest of us are going to go with our number one, Skylarking.
Yeah.
An album I've never listened to, probably.
Well, you can't hear them all. Like
It's on
I
my
said,
Spotify list right now. I'm gonna listen to it tomorrow, maybe.
Oh, good.
it's like that Tom Robinson album. I know the album cover. Never heard it. You know, I don't know. So there you go. I need to get more XTC because I'm still stuck on Drums and Wires. Drums and Wires is brilliant.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Dan, you gotta
Steve Lillywhite
push
production.
past it. There's lots of treasures further on down the road for sure.
Am I doing Record Store Day tomorrow? I am not.
I'm not either.
I don't even know.
But I'm going because my record store has a tremendous sale on used CDs, and I'm going to see what I can find there to kind of fill in some gaps. But the releases on Record Store Day, the only one I'm remotely interested in is, oddly enough,
Taylor
Todd's The Wizard,
Swift.
A True Star release. If that comes as a double vinyl, I will buy it because there was so much music originally on that. It was like 80 minutes worth of music on that vinyl when it was released that the sound suffers. Now, if they take that same album and put it on two discs, two albums, then I'll buy it. If not, I'm not going to buy it again.
CD.
I think that the original Rhino CD sounds fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if they got in there and dickered with it at all for the
Well,
CD.
I know. Well, when it came out originally, all the splices had come undone. They had to go in and resplice it back together
Wow.
because it had dried out.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, they had to do some work on it. But, all you had to do is retape it. But, yeah, that's what they had to do. But I don't know. I might go to Record Store Day in the afternoon. I'm not going to go when things are going crazy.
I'll never go there and wait in line for something.
I used to do that.
I used to do that. It can be fun if you go to the right store, but I'm not doing it anymore.
Nah, I don't know. I don't even know what's coming out. Thanks, DMG.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean
guys.
Barnes. See, I gave you some props, Sean. The Pursuit of Happiness. A Todd production is like a Jeff Lynne one. There are touches all over it. That's great, but I always wonder if the artists think it may be a bit much. But Jerry, like we talked about on this show, not all of those Todd Rundgren albums are like that. They all don't have his stamp. The Cheap
Some
Trick
do.
one does,
Yeah.
but Grand Funk,
No.
we can't find the stamp. And Zen Archer's pure perfection. It's great. Ernesto, thank you. It was a good show. It was a fun discussion. We went 22 minutes over that I wanted to. We're probably going to break the internet, but that's okay. It was a good discussion.
We're rebels.
We're rebels. I haven't done a show over an hour in a long time. All right. Well, gentlemen, I think we've done it.
All right.
think Skylarkin's the winner with I don't know what the runner-up would be. Probably the Tubes Remote Control or Love Bomb would probably be the runners-up.
You have to count each record, how many times it was selected, and then add them up, I guess. So.
Yeah. All right. We did it. I want to thank Daryl Collins, Todd Evans, Byron Bolt. This was our Todd Rundgren show. We did it. It was fun. This is actually kind of more fun than the Utopia show and the Todd show, because it's just, you never know what people are going to pick.
All over the place.
It's all over the place. It's just kind of a wild card.
Some consensus and some all over the place. So that's what you want.
Yeah.
Interesting conversation, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Grant.
Hey, it was fun. So thanks for coming on. Everybody, please leave a like, blah, 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 subscribe, you know, the whole thing. And we're going to end it. We'll see you on the next one. Oh, tomorrow, just for giggles, I'm taking 2 hours on Saturday and playing Cheap Trick from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
There you go.
I still have to work on that second show, but I'm doing that, streaming, doing the listening party on Saturday. And then Sunday night, Flowerhead interview. I've got the whole band and Scott Byron for the discussion. And we talk for 2 hours on Flowerhead. It's great. It's epic. It's a good
solid programming.
Solid programming here on the Warehouse. So check that out Sunday night. That premieres at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Byron C says a good show. Thanks everybody for coming in, making comments. It was fun. And until tomorrow, I'll see you.
So long, everybody.
Thanks, gentlemen.